Obviously, we're all realizing how difficult it is during these difficult times. And we as at ACPN, we're quite committed to be at the front line, providing the people the tools and resources to be ready to manage these stressful times for all of us here in the UAE. I'm quite privileged to introduce to you Dr. Rami Alshihabi, who can be the best person that can walk us through this and navigate through these difficult times of stress and can to address some of those issues that we are facing during these difficult times. Dr. Rami clearly does not need any introduction. He's a well-known figure in the field of psychology and mental health. Dr. Rami is currently holding a position of the Deputy Chief Medical Officer at the American Center for Psychiatry and Neurology. He's our clinical lead psychologist. And before joining ACPN, he has held so many important leading positions in the country at the NYU as well as in the government. And he is a leading figure in the field of mental health and psychology. And we will all, I'm sure, enjoy his discussions and how he will help us navigate through these difficult times and during these stressful times. So please, the floor is yours, Dr. Rami. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tawfiq. Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and thank you for the wonderful introduction, Dr. Tawfiq. Thank you. I'm very humbled. Thank you. Absolutely, like Dr. Tawfiq said, we're all going through some tough times right now. For some others, they're experiencing it more than others, and so forth, which is normal and natural for us to have different kind of perceptions and different ways of dealing with different stressful situations. We're all coming from different backgrounds and so forth. So many of us are feeling anxious, including myself. I'm just because I'm a psychologist, it doesn't mean I'm immune to many things that affect human beings in general, per se. But we're going to talk about how we're feeling right now. We're going to talk about how to manage and navigate through. We're going to discuss resilience and so forth. So bear with me for the next hour or so. We'll try to open it up for questions afterwards and take it from there. So we're going to be talking about navigating emotional stress during times of conflict. This is just a bit about ACPN and the services we provide, from neurological, psychiatric, psychological, rehab, and so forth, and the corporate services that we do. So we'll go ahead and start with kind of what's going on right now. Basically, change and conflict are normal events, but in times of heightened tension, which kind of what we're going through right now, they can cause anxiety and emotional distress. Again, having some anxiety is not the end of all, and it's okay to have some anxiety, but when things get kind of on top of each other and having consistency in day after day after day after day, we can have distress and we can face some difficulties, especially in the amount of intensity that we have as well. Absolutely, we all react differently to uncertainty, and this is kind of what's happening right now. People feel a little bit hopeless, a little bit helpless, a lot of helplessness because they're not knowing what's happening. We can't foretell the future, and sometimes you get alarmed, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you're hearing things, but you don't see things, and people don't know what's really happening, how long will it happen for, what's going on. So a lot of uncertainty. And we've dealt with that before as well in our lives. Those of us, of course, with higher intolerance for uncertainty are more prone for emotional distress and anxiety. When it comes to emotional stress and anxiety, the younger generations also feel it, even though they might not directly show it. Now, I have two teenage girls at home, so I can tell you from personal experience, what I see from them is that you ask them, they're like, "Yeah, Baba, we're okay, we're fine, everything is great." But when I delve deeper with them, it shows. They are anxious and they are worried, but a lot of our teens can show that, you know, they're stronger and they can manage and no worries. But at the end of the day, they do have it internally, and sometimes they're being anxious or maybe somewhat suffering in silence per se. So it's okay to talk to our children about this and open up about it, and not just take it at face value. If they tell us we're fine, they might not be. A lot of teenagers sometimes don't show it unless we kind of delve deeper and investigate with them as well. As you know, we've dealt with uncertainty before. So COVID has not been too long ago, about like, let's say 5 years ago or so. We've dealt with uncertainty. We've dealt with not knowing what's happening, health related issue moving forward and things like that. So we have dealt with a situation that is somewhat similar in how it affects us and how we perceive things, even though it is a different situation. So I just want to let everybody know that most of us have gone through, all of us have gone through the coronavirus situation, and we are here now, and we've bypassed that, and we've overcome all the difficulties that has come with that as well. So I want everyone to kind of assure themselves that, you know, we've done it before, we can do it again, and life will always shoot things at us in many different ways. So we will overcome it even if it comes in the future as well. So I just want you, everyone, to be confident that you've passed it, you've done it before, you will do it again, and you will pass this one, and things will be taken care of. I'll go to the next slide. I'm going to talk about stress and anxiety. So stress is something normal that happens to us. If I ask 100 people, are you stressed? Most likely 99 will tell me yes. Every time I go to a doctor, let's say, and maybe health-wise, it's not going well, a lot of times one of the things is like, you have to de-stress. And I'm like, easier said than done, per se. But yes, what's happening to us now is we're having kind of a heavier amount of stress because of the uncertainty, the fears, some people facing traumatic experiences. Now, the differences between stress and anxiety is that anxiety kind of erupts from sometimes having too much stress happening, whether it's real stress or our perception of the stress that's happening to us as well. So our anxiety is not just the stressors that are happening to us, but it's also how we perceive that stress and what additional things we put from our internal self on that stress and dealing with that stress, hence kind of making it erupt into more of an anxiety disorder or so. So stress is worrying in tough situations, which is normal. May have several separate and distinct causes, absolutely. Results from external pressures most of the time, goes away when the problem is resolved most of the time, but sometimes it can linger on because of our anxiety and our internal reactions to that stress. Can lead to anxiety if not kept under control. Absolutely. You keep stressing, that stress can turn into anxiety. And if we keep anxious, keep that anxiety going for a long period of time as well, it can go into other mental health disorders as well. So we really have to be careful in terms of how we are dealing with the stressors and how we are dealing with our anxiety so that we don't kind of go into deeper issues as well. And it can be treated by fixing underlying issues and relaxation. Absolutely. There's a lot of things that we can do, and we're going to talk about as well in terms of lessening the effect of that stress on us per se and our perception of that stress. Anxiety is taking the stress a step further. It's worrying persistently for about 6 months or more. May take one specific cause of stress and blow it out of proportions or importance. It's nervousness and fears. It's worrying and disrupted anxiety that kind of disrupts our daily routine and daily life. So if sometimes we're stressed, but most of the time we're doing okay, we can manage. But if we're stressed most of the time, and that stress that has maybe become anxiety and is kind of getting in the way of our daily routines and our daily activities and our daily emotions, then we have an issue and we have a problem. Panic attacks could be part of the highly stressful environment, or when we have high anxiety, panic attacks do happen. It doesn't mean all people with anxiety or with stress are going to have panic attacks, but usually people who are having panic attacks do have high levels of anxiety and definitely high levels of stress, especially internal stress. And of course, when we're reaching those stages, it's good to get support and help. So this is us kind of talking about the basics of stress and anxiety. We have normal reactions to traumatic and high stressful events. So this is kind of what we're going through a bit right now. This is what we've went through during COVID, and what many people go through during different experiences in their lives at times. So the common reactions that many of us could be having or might be having are kind of shock. So people are shocked to what's happening, if this is something they've never experienced, or if this is something they might have experienced before, but they assume that, you know what, we're good, everything's fine, and all of a sudden it comes, and it might be re-triggering past anxieties and past traumas as well. So we can have that emotional numbness. When people get too anxious and too overstimulated, sometimes our nervous system just kind of shuts down. So we're numb. We're being numb is not necessarily the best thing, because sometimes people say, I just don't want to feel. I don't want to have this negative feeling. But going numb and just stopping feelings is not necessarily good, because then you're numb from not just the negative things, you're numb also from the positive things that happen in life. So definitely numbness is not something I will advocate for. It can feel good because it's suppressing the negative emotions or the negative feeling, but at the same time, the side effect of that is us not enjoying the positive feelings as well, or not feeling those. Fear, irritability, sleep disturbances. I know a lot of people, when they're afraid, they're irritable. It affects their fear. We've gotten many alarms kind of during the nighttime. We tend to hear more of what's going around us during the nighttime because it's quieter. So, and we're less distracted, so we're more aware possibly of our surroundings. So those things kind of hit more during the times of sleep. We're also in the holy month of Ramadan, which is great, but also sleep kind of disturbances happen during this month for many people who do practice fasting and practice Ramadan. So there's already some sleep disturbances that have been going on for some time during this holy month. So this kind of on top of it kind of gets things even more serious per se for some people. Of course, our brain's alarm system, it gets activated. So there's, I'm not the neurologist or the psychiatrist, so my biological background is limited, but we have a part in our brain called the amygdala, and this part kind of regulates our fear, regulates our aggression, regulates some certain emotions of our body. So when trauma happens, when extreme stress and anxiety happen, this part of our brain gets stimulated and gets triggered, and it's part of our survival as well. So part of us surviving is also sometimes fear, because we want to be able to run away from a tiger who's chasing us. If we're not afraid, and you know, back in the days, a tiger comes, then we'll just stand and the tiger will eat us. So we do need that part. We do need the feelings of fear. We do need the feelings of anxiety, so that we can try to protect ourselves and run away from certain dangers. And these things stayed in our mind for a certain reason. But then when anxiety and stress stimulates that part of our brain, and that kind of continues to be stimulated with our internal drives as well, then we have a problem that's going on a lot more than what is necessary for what's happening in the environment as well. So symptoms usually, the responses so stays even though the threat has passed. So a lot of this is also biological as well. And the reason I'm saying that, and we'll discuss it down the line as well, is that there are certain things we can't fully help at times. And I don't want people to feel guilty for that. There's variability in recovery. So reactions, intensity varies by individual factors. We're all different. Resiliency kind of is different with different people, our backgrounds, what we've learned, what we were unlearning, and things like that. So different people will experience the same thing differently. Usually with everybody, symptoms will decrease over days and weeks from when the stimulation or when that negative stimulation has decreased or has stopped. So for most of us, we'll get anxious, we'll get stressed out, but with time, if things have settled down, we will wean off it. For some of us, that might not be the case and we'll need more support. For others, it can go down a bit and then go up again when things are stimulated again. Normalizing reactions, we need to understand that these reactions are normal, and as fear, these actions actually as normal reduces fear and catastrophic thinking post-trauma. So what we need to give ourselves a chance in that when we're feeling overly stressed and feeling overly anxious, don't be harsh on yourself, because these are normal biological factors that are going through our bodies, whether we like it or not. So we're going to have these reactions. So be easy on yourself, and I'll be talking about this some more down the line. So trauma response is the body and mind's automatic survival reaction to a threat. So it's automatic. So a lot of these things we cannot fully control. When we hear a loud boom out there, when we hear a crash, when we hear a person slam onto the brakes, when we hear loud voices, naturally our body will react in a response of in a shock or in a fear or something like that, until we know what's going on and things like that. Some fears will go down, and if we know what's going on and it could be somewhat threatening or so forth, then the anxiety will stay there and might increase as well. So it's not a sign of weakness. It is a biological protection mechanisms that is placed in our body for better survival, but we need to hone it and we need to manage it so that it's not going against us instead of for us. So trauma activates the autonomic nervous system, which releases adrenaline and cortisol, which are hormones that also excite the body, and not necessarily always in a positive way as well, but we also need those hormones nonetheless. So resilience. So I'll be talking about resilience right now, and we'll be talking about the types and so forth. And then we'll talk about certain things that we can do that help increase our resilience and allow us to be more apt and ready to face all these problems and issues. Resilience is our ability to adapt well in the face of adversity, trauma, significant stress, and recover from setback. Resilient individuals can cope better with adversity and rebuild their lives. They tend to remain steadier during crises and approach life challenges directly. Resilience people, and this is very important at the bottom, resilient people do not experience less distress, sadness, or anxiety. So if somebody is a strong, resilient person, they're not like, oh, I don't feel these feelings. No, we do feel sad, we do feel anxious, and we do feel stress. It's just we're dealing with it and we're working with it in a way that we're not letting it affect us as much as the other people who are feeling it. So just because you are a resilient person does not mean you're not feeling. You are feeling everything, but you're dealing with things in a different way. And is resilience genetic? It's possible there's a predisposition to that, but resilience can be taught, and we can do better and learn and get better. So it's not like you either have it or you don't. So healthy people, healthy coping skill to deal with difficulties, and like I said, they're skills. So when we have a skill, it is learned, and we can learn that. It enhances our strength and growth, and we come out stronger than we were before. So whatever doesn't break me only makes me stronger. So that's what we're kind of working on as well. One moment, please. I want to make sure. Perfect. So the types of resilience, we have 4 different types of resilience. There's the physical resilience, which is how the body copes with changes and recovers from physical demands, illnesses, injuries. It affects how a person ages, responds to, and recovers from physical stress and health problems. Of course, many of these resiliences are coexisting together, and they can affect each other and loop into each other, but they can also, we can let them stand alone. So a person who takes good care of their body and their health, they're increasing their physical resilience as well. So I'm not maybe the best person who is the physical resilient person, as you can see, but it is a very important aspect of our life, and we shouldn't let any of those 4 types of resilient kind of slip away, because they do feed onto each other. Like they say in Arabic, العقل السليم في الجسم السليم والجسم السليم في العقل السليم. So we need to build on all 4 aspects of these resiliences. So having physical resilience is important. So do the best that you can do. We all have our weaknesses. Mine is I'm fasting now. I can't think of food, but mine is food. So after physical resilience, there's mental resilience. So that's our ability to adapt to change and uncertainty, which is kind of what's happening around us now. So resilient people are usually calmer in times of crises, and as resilient people, we use our mental strengths to solve problems and maintain hope even in the face of setbacks. And I kind of highlighted hope here. It's very important not to lose hope. It's very important to try and, I'm going to say, think less negatively or more positively, however you want to see it. The cup is half empty or half full. Usually they say always, speak on a positive note. But I also want to say there are negative things, because in life there are negative things. So I don't want to have this it should always be positive thing, which is nice, but in reality there's also negative things. So we need to kind of adhere to that. We need to acknowledge that as well. But very important to keep the hope, because when we're hopeless and helpless, that can open a doorway to feeling depressed. So we need the best that we can do to try to keep our hopes up as realistic as possible, while still acknowledging the negatives that is happening. But we need to keep our eyes open to other things. We'll talk about these as well in the second half. The 2 other types of resilience, we have emotional resilience, which is the ability to regulate emotions during times of stress. And you can see how all these can relate with each other, right? The mental resilience with the emotional resilience, and so forth. It's our awareness of our emotional reactions and connecting with our inner self. So awareness is very, very, very important. In therapy, we have many clients that come in. Usually the initial thing that we work on is to get them to be aware of what's happening to themselves, aware of their thoughts, aware of their feelings. Once we have an awareness and an understanding of what our body is going through, we're more than halfway in terms of getting better and improving. So the awareness is very important. And be real with yourself, whether it's negative or positive. Be real with yourself and be accepting of the self. There's a lot of us and many cultures who sometimes, if we're real with ourselves and it might have some negativity in there, we want to push it away. No, 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 no. It's عيب, ما بصير, it's not good. But it's okay. Nobody's perfect. So some of us will have mistakes, will do something wrong, and might not be okay at times. And it's okay. Acknowledge that, accept that, and then build on that, or we can try to fix that if needed. We need to calm our minds and manage our emotion when faced with negative experiences. So again, I might pushing Arabic in here. At times, I apologize. Like they say, صغرها بتصغر كبرها بتكبر. So we have the ability sometimes to get the amount of stress that we get. We can either try to manage it and fix our perception a bit of it, or we can add to it and add more fears and try then to kind of think of the future and just focus on what negative things can happen in the future. And that's not good, because there are other options. But I'm not going to tell a person to not think negatively, because again, there is negative probabilities in the future. I can't take that away, but it's not the only future that we have. We have also neutral and we have positive things. So we need to think of those. So help us maintain a sense of optimism during difficult times. It doesn't mean it's not difficult. It just means there is more to life than just the negative, difficult things that we're going through. Adversity and difficult emotions will not last forever. Just like a panic attack. Those of you that have experienced a panic attack in your life, it ends. COVID ended. Now it's a common cold, but back then it was, oh my God, if you had it, it was so bad. So all bad things end, or change, or they become something different down the line. So nothing lasts forever per se. So even negative things don't last forever. So that's the hope, that this thing will pass and it will be a memory, and we will be stronger people because of us going through those things as well. Social resilience. Social is very, very important. Ability of groups to recover from challenging situations, involving individuals connecting with each other, working together to solve problems. It affects us individually and collectively. So a major part of research in terms of resilience and so forth, the social aspect is a very big part. As you can see, the first three types are more individual, and this fourth part is very important, but it doesn't mean it's just 25% of the equation. I think social resilience could be possibly 40 or 50% of that equation, because we are social beings. Okay, not all of us like to be social. Some of us are loners and stuff like that, and that's okay, because that might be the personality style. But the majority are social, and we do depend on each other, and we do help each other. And I can tell you, even here at work, coming to work and meeting with all the other clinicians and all the other admin staff, talking to each other, expressing our fears and concerns and anxiety, acknowledging each other's fears. You didn't sleep well, I didn't sleep well. Oh my God, you heard this, I heard this, and stuff like that. But nonetheless, we both start thinking positively to the future. We both start pulling each other out up. This is very, very important. The social part and what we do for each other and how we help each other can really, really affect our resilience, especially through tough times. The signs of resilience. So we have the survival mindset, which is resilient people are able to keep going even in the most challenging circumstances. They persist, push through difficult times, and find ways to move forward. So being resilient is falling but getting up and moving forward. It's not about not falling. Most of us will fall. It's us getting up and moving forward, maybe falling again, getting up. This is a survival kind of mentality. Is I'm gonna keep going. I'm not gonna stop. If I stop, it's just gonna be for some rest, taking a break, taking a breather to get my strength back, and I'm moving forward. I'm not stopping because I just completely surrender. Sometimes we need to surrender a little bit and just, like they say, tawakkal ala Allah, and move with the flow. But at least we need to have tried our best to move forward. Emotional regulation, resilience, as we mentioned, includes the ability to manage our emotions during stressful times. So the more we manage our emotions during that stressful time, the more we're able to pass through, the more the emotion kind of takes over and allows us to get stuck and doesn't allow us to move forward, then we're held back. Now, if that happens a little bit, that's okay. We're only humans at the end of the day, but we need to try and move forward. So recognizing these feelings are okay. So again, we need to allow ourselves to feel. This is, if I can only send one message right now, is that what you're feeling right now is okay. If you're afraid, it's okay. If you're sad, it's okay. If you're angry, it's okay. If you're stressed, it's okay. Do not say, I'm not gonna allow, this is bad, don't feel this way, don't feel this bad, Rami, غلط, don't, no. It's okay, accept it. I am feeling this and it's okay, but I'm gonna move through it. I'm gonna manage, because on the other side of the spectrum, there's happy feelings and there's joyful feeling and there's laughter and there's love and there's intimacy, and all these things are also there. I'm not gonna let these stop me from this, or this stop me from that, because as a balanced human beings, God gave us the ability to be sad and angry and cry and all that, because it's needed at the same time. So it's okay to feel. This is really, really important, to allow us to feel this way. Sense of control. Resilient people often have a strong sense of personal control and believe in their action influencing outcomes. So we need to trust ourselves and know that, if I do this, I can probably do that, instead of whatever I do, it doesn't matter. I can't change. True, I can't change the world, but I can change my world. I can manage my world. I can have an effect on my family and stuff. And if we think with that way, then at least we can manage our kind of circle, our environment. But yeah, I can't stop famines. I can't stop wars. I can't stop bad weather. I can't stop things on a bigger scale, but I can definitely work on the smaller scale and try to minimize the effects of the bigger scale if it's being negative on myself. Problem solving skill. Resilient people focus on identifying solutions. So we can sit here and just talk about the problem and be like, this is bad, this is awful, da, 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 and I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. Okay, again, you're allowed to do that. It's okay. We need to vent. We need to kind of, I don't like this, I don't like that. But at the same time, resilient people will take a step and say, okay, now how can we deal with that? How can we make things better? Self-compassion, extremely, extremely important, kind of what I was mentioning as well. The ability to show kindness and acceptance towards oneself. In a lot of our lives, and maybe more of the older generation, we were taught a lot to be kind to others and to be nice to others and accepting of others, which is very important. But if we can't be kind to ourselves and accepting of ourselves, it is very hard to do it for others, and we burn out. So if we're just going to be people pleasers and be there just for others and not take care of ourselves and not put ourselves as a major part of this equation, we're going to eventually burn out. We're going to eventually feel down and so forth. So self-compassion is extremely, extremely important. And it doesn't mean you're selfish. It doesn't mean you're narcissistic, when you're taking care of yourself. Now, when you're taking care of yourself by breaking others down and causing faults in other people's life, just to feel better, you want to bring people down just so you feel better. Yes, this is not a good thing to do. And this can be negative narcissism and stuff. But when you're taking care of yourself just so you can feel better, and you're not being mean to others, you're just being neutral, then that's good self-care, and do that, please. So this is very, very important. Again, social support, a strong support network is hugely important. And we live in a collectivist society. So part of our cultures here and part of many cultures of the world is that we stick together, we work together. So let's keep that going, especially during hard times. You're close to your neighbor, go check on your neighbors. You have friends you need to contact and check on them, they check on you. Absolutely. Feel connected. The more we feel connected, the more calmer we feel, the better we feel, kind of strengthen numbers in a way. So please keep your social connection. Now, again, I'm not gonna tell people to be super social, because sometimes you also need to kind of stay indoors and keep calm and keep protected and things like that. At times, it's okay. It's okay to want to have your alone time as well. That's fine. But we need to find that balance as well, where we are still connected with our community, gaining support, giving support, and still having time for ourselves, because we have our self-compassion and we need to self-care as well. Really quick, you guys all know this. I think the majority of what I'm talking about are things people know. It's just we need to be reminded every now and then. Unhealthy ways of coping with stress. So some of us, again, I don't want to say if you're smoking or drinking, you're a bad person. No, it's just they can be unhealthy ways to kind of deal with problems. When they're being used as self-medication, these are not the healthiest patterns to do. But if you smoke or drink, then you smoke or drink. That's fine. I'm not. This is not me to judge, to say bad or not good or good and so forth. But these sometimes are unhealthier ways in terms of kind of feeling better. So smoking, absolutely, and we all know that. But again, I don't want you to feel bad just because you smoke. Sometimes drinking too much is as used as self-medication, and that can have a lot more negative side effects than the positive effect. Over or under eating, guilty as charged. So yes, a lot of us use food as kind of a to increase pleasure or to decrease bad feelings. So we need to watch, why are we eating? Are we medicating on that food, or are we just eating because we enjoyed it and because we're in a social situation and it's nice and it's fun? So be aware of why you kind of utilize certain substances, and for what reason. The better the awareness, the more difference we can do. Procrastinating. A lot of people, when they're feeling stressed, they procrastinate. A lot of it had to do also with perfectionism and wanting to do the perfect things. And if we can't do it, then we shy away. So we need to watch from that. Zoning out for hours in front of the TV, computer, iPad. So be careful of that. Zoning out in front of the news right now, not zoning out, but doing too much of it is not good. Withdrawing from friends and family and activities. So for a certain degree, okay, get your alone time, but if it's too much, it will not help your own resilience. Using non-prescription pills or drugs to relax. Some people do that. They kind of take their prescription medication as they want, or more or less. So please, we see that sometimes with a lot of the population who are prescribed medication. Please follow your doctor's prescription. Please follow your doctor's recommendations. And if you have any issues, be honest with your doctor and go and say, look, I don't like the medication. I don't like the way it makes me feel. Let's figure out a different way. But don't just stop taking it because you want to, and then there's nobody there to support you. So be honest. It's not taib, it's not bad that you want to do what you feel better at, but do speak with your doctor and do find solutions together. Sleeping too much and sleeping too little, those are not good things either. So when somebody starts all of a sudden sleeping too much and not feeling rested and stuff, there might be an issue there. If they're not sleeping at all and having difficulties, there might be an issue there as well. Filling up every minute of the day to avoid facing problems. So we're running away from the problem. At times, sometimes distracting or running away is not a bad idea, but if we continue to do that more and not kind of facing or going through or finding ways to deal with the problem, that might not be the best thing in the long run. And taking out our stress on others. A lot of times it happens to, I think, most of us, where we're upset in a certain situation and we go home and we're angry, or we lash out or something, or maybe we're upset for home and we come back and we're frowning at everybody and we're short with everyone. So this is part of the awareness that we need to have. But again, if it happens, you're not a bad person, you're just maybe having a bad day, or you're just having a bad behavior. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. How to manage. So now we'll go into the management part. Okay, this is a pretty full one, but we'll go through it, and some of it I've also kind of went through already. Be kind to yourself. I will always tell you to be kind to yourself, to smile for yourself, to take care of yourself. Again, don't beat yourself and don't be intolerant of unpredictability. If you're intolerance is lower than another person, it's okay. We can work on that. We don't know the person's background. We tend to compare a lot with people around us, and for some reason we always compare with those who we feel are better than us. Some people tell me yes, because we want to get better. Okay, I don't mind. If you want to push to be better, fine, compare with people who are better than you. But at the same time, you need to compare yourself with yourself as you get better, and be proud of yourself for getting better, because there will always be somebody who's better. So if we're always comparing and somebody is better, how are we going to feel about ourselves? And again, I'm not going to compare somebody who maybe I'm better all the time and just feel I don't need to improve or so. So if you do compare, I'm not going to say no. I think culturally this is built in, per se. I remember my mother, God rest her souls, like I get a grade, let's say a 98, which is wow. You know, وين راحوا هالعلامتين? Where did those two go? Did anybody get 100? Were you the highest grade? So that went on and stuff. But with time, I was like, it's high enough, it's good. I'm okay with it. So comparing is okay. I'm not going to tell you not to, because I think it's human nature, but we have to make sure we're being fair when we're comparing ourselves to others and so forth. Be patient with yourself. We're not perfect. We make mistakes. We do get better, and we work on ourselves. So if we're not patient and we feel bad, we're not going to have the energy to make ourselves better. So we'll fall in that loop, and then we'll give up on ourselves. Reflect on past successes. Again, I bring back COVID. We passed through a very difficult time in COVID, but we passed it. We surpassed it. We got the support of our environment. We got the support of our city. We got the support of each other and so forth. And we went through it. And it was really, really, really hard. I remember those initial year or so, but we're here now, and we're good. So please reflect on those. It's good to look forward and to say, I want to be this, I want to be this, I want to be this. A lot of my clients come into session and they're driven forward. It's wonderful, but they rarely take the time to stop and look back and say, what have I done in the last 20 years? They're just kind of looking at, what do I need to do? How do I need to improve? Good, but be fair. Look back and look at all the achievement. Look at all the exams you've passed. Look at all the days you woke up and went to work. Look at the times you sometimes wake up in the morning, you're like, I'm so tired, I can't do it. But you push yourself and you go, and so forth. You can do more days down the line, yes, but you've already done so much as well. So as you look forward, reflect on the past and look at the things that you've done well. And I can guarantee you, if we're gonna write things down bit by bit, your past has a lot more achievements than not. Develop new skills. When life is relatively calm, I'm not going to ask people now, learn a new skill now, because we're facing a lot and stuff like that. But when we have downtimes, when things are going okay, there are not much stress going around and stuff like that, look at developing new things, learning a new sport, gaining a new hobby. And as we get older, those things will serve us so much more than, let's say, the work that we do, because eventually we're going to need hobbies. We're going to need different things than just going to work and doing that per se. Some of us will work for the rest of our lives and we can manage that. Some of us, no, will retire. Then what? So this is something to look forward to in terms of what you love, your passions, and so forth. Somebody says I can't hear, but I believe you can hear me. Okay. Develop new skills. That will be great as you move forward. Limit exposure to news and media. This is important nowadays, and I'm guilty of that in the beginning when all this thing was happening. I had the media on here at work. In between clients, I went online, I was reading the news, social media, and things like that. And then I found myself drowning in my anxiety, because a lot of that media is usually not going to be positive. It's usually going to give you something bad that happens, explosions here, the people sad, this destruction, stuff like that. So after a while, you just drown in that. So the best way to do it is that, and usually not a lot of changes happen. You get the same news that repeats over and over. If you watch the news for like 2 hours, you're looking at the same images over and over and over. So it's the same, but it's affecting us. It keeps affecting us. It builds on your eyes, your perception. They're looking at things that are more negative in nature. Your anxiety will shoot up. So what you can do, take breaks. You can say, you know what, I'm just going to watch the news maybe for a little bit in the morning, and then I'm going to catch up a bit after work, and that's it. My recommendation, not necessarily a good thing before sleep, because when we have negative information before sleep, raises those hormones per se, your sleep is not going to be as good. And when we don't have as good sleep, it loops into other things. So be careful. Social media and news, be careful of that. Let's see, control what you can, and basically avoid dwelling on things. So don't try to control the uncontrollable, and the things you do have control over, try to focus on that. So when uncertainty strikes, many people immediately imagine worst case scenario. Let's try to get out of ruminating of this habit per se. Do bad things happen? Yes. Will bad things happen? Yes. But is that the only thing that's going to be happening? No. So if you do start thinking, oh my God, this will happen, this will happen, this will happen, then you can say, okay, what are other possibilities? I always, when I'm dealing with my clients who are highly anxious, and usually anxiety comes with negative thoughts towards the future, kind of like, we're foretelling the future, but we're only foretelling the negative things. And they're logical things. Most of the people, when they tell me about the negative things, yes, they're logical things that can happen in the future. But there are other logical things. There are neutral things, which most of our life is neutral. You know, the bell-shaped curves. Our life, the 67 to 70% of our life is neutral. It might not be wow, and it might not be bad. Then you have the different sides of the standard deviation of the bell-shaped curve, where you have some awesome things that are going to happen and some really bad things that are going to happen. But that this part is not the whole curve. So we need to be fair with ourselves. And if we have some negative foretelling thing in the future, I always tell people, practice, try to give me a neutral thing that might happen in the future, and try to give me also a logical positive thing that happened in the future. So the more we train our mind in terms of thinking of the possibilities and not just one possibility, the more we strengthen our mind in that. The brain is like a muscle. We work certain part of it, that part will get stronger. If we're thinking negative most of the time, that becomes automatic, that becomes stronger, it takes over. When we allow negative thoughts, which is okay, allow some positive thoughts, allow neutral thoughts, then at least you're balancing out between this, and negative is not the automatic thought that comes. Hence, also, I ask people to not watch as much news and media, because that tends to be more negatively driven per se. We still need to know what's going on, but what's going on in our mind, that gym we take the mind to, needs to be fair. Focus on the things that are within your control, even if it's simple as weekly planning meals. So sometimes people with uncertainty, they feel out of control. Oh my God, I have no control. All these bad things are happening to me. No, you do have control over certain things in your life. Yes, you do not have control over what's going on in the space above you, in the outer space, and what's going on. Yes, we don't have control over that, but we do have control over how hot and how cold it is at home. Well, some of us do, some of us don't. The air conditioning is not always under my discretion at home. We do have control over what we eat. We do have control over the meal we have. We do have control over what we want to wear and what we prefer. We do have control if we want to go for a walk for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and so forth. So these things, the more we work on that and the more we see the control that we have over the things we do, the more more our life comes together and the more sure of ourselves we have. Take your own advice. A lot of times we can tell a friend what to do and give them perfect advice. When it comes to ourselves, we have no idea what to do. So a lot of times with clients, I tell them, if you were your best friend, what would you tell you? And stuff like that. That's a very important activity or practice we can do, because sometimes we know the right thing. It's just we can't tell ourselves to do it, but we can for sure tell our brother, sister, mother, father, wife, husband, kids, best friend. But when it comes to us, so it's nice to kind of think of yourself as your best friend and get that advice. Engage in self-care. I think mental health, a huge part of mental health is self-care. Get your routines, make efforts to eat well, exercise, do pleasurable activities, yoga, meditation, whatever kind of brings you a better quality of life. Seek support from those you trust. Absolutely. Again, the social interaction, the social resilience, and seek it from people who will help you out. You don't want to go to a toxic person and kind of ask them to support you, and then you feel worse than when you first came to them. Seek the positive people in your life, people who make you feel better. Go to those people, talk to these people. If that's not available and you're worried about judgment, you're worried about your own privacy, confidentiality and stuff, seek a professional. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. I know I'm biased because I'm a psychologist, but there's nothing wrong with getting help from a professional. And I think we've come to a point where the stigma has gotten so much less, or much lesser, that we can do that and not be afraid of the negative stigma from the environment. And here in the UAE, the UAE has done a lot of great work in terms of normalizing mental health and supporting mental health and providing awesome mental health support. So please take advantage of that and do the best that you can do for yourself through that support. And I know I'm running a bit out of time, so I'm gonna go a bit faster. Of course, we need to have different perceptions. The more we see things as they are, but at the same time be fair and kind of look at different perspectives of the situation and see the negative and see the positive side of things. Like with COVID, for example, many people, it was harsh, it was bad, it was traumatic and stuff like that, but through that, many people have gotten stronger. Through that, more people are now more, let's say, they can take better care of the cleanliness of their environment and stuff like that. Per se, I can say COVID was not a good thing, it was a bad thing, but after COVID, mental health support increased. So people after COVID started seeking mental health a lot more. So something bad that happened to us did have a side effect of positivity in terms of destigmatizing mental health and saying, look, it's not that bad. It's okay. I can do it. So COVID did help with that on different levels and different, let's say, professions, and it did do bad things. But I just want to say, even through bad things, we also get positive effects. So these are the perceptions we can sometimes look at. Relax your muscles. Absolutely. Your physical body matters. So you need, if you like to get massages, stretches. Don't sit for long periods of time. I'm guilty of that as well. Stand up every now and then, take a walk and stuff like that. We all have those watches that tell us to stand up and stuff like that. Sometimes just 30 seconds will make a huge difference. There's exercises which we won't do today, but you can look it up. It's called progressive muscle relaxation. It's kind of a way to de-stress and relax the body, kind of like deep breathing. Meditation is something great. So meditation can happen through, let's say, yoga techniques and stuff like that. It can happen through spirituality as well. Prayers and things like that are all meditative in nature, where you can kind of just sit, calm yourself down, breathe, and do what you need to do as well. And don't judge yourself if you kind of waver away from the attention in there. A lot of time people come and say, during my prayer, I'm not as focused. It's okay. A lot of us lose our focus. It's okay. Accept it and then move away from it, per se, and refocus. You unfocus, you refocus, because it's not abnormal to not be focused. A lot of us nowadays have so much going on in our head. It is so hard to be a blank slate and just like be super zen and just put out the world. It's not that easy anymore. There's a lot of noise outside, so we need to accept that, and we need to accept we're not perfect people who are just going to shut everything out. But when it happens, we go back to it and we try again and again. That builds resilience. Protect your sleep, keep a routine. A lot of times when things get disrupted, our routine suffers, we suffer. So as best as possible, please keep your routine. Sleep at the same time, wake up at the same time. I know, again, what's happening can affect us. I know sleeping in Ramadan can be affected as well, but that's okay. Have a routine for this period as well. Have a routine for this month, and then afterwards we go back to, let's say, a certain other routine and things like that. But please keep somewhat of a routine that's healthy for us. Stay physically active. I'm guilty. I'm not as active, but activity, physical activity, and it doesn't have to be exercise. Just physical activity, I think, is one of the best medicine in the world. Research has showed that longevity is not just about dieting, and that I'm biased because I don't like dieting, but I should be. But it's mostly about physical activity as well. So people who are more, let's say, have longevity more are people who might be maybe slightly overweight, but are the people who are more active. So physical activity is important. A healthy diet absolutely is important, but so is the physical activity as well. For sleep, don't force yourself to sleep. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. So if you go to bed, you can't sleep for 15, 20 minutes, get out, sit somewhere else, calm down. Stay away from screens. Don't check your email. Those things will not help you to sleep. But rarely or never force yourself to sleep, because that's just going to increase your anxiety and increase the likelihood of you not sleeping, because you're going to feel angry and frustrated. So don't push yourself, don't force yourself to sleep. If you don't sleep tonight, you'll sleep tomorrow night, hopefully, but don't push yourself. Of course, if there's a certain diagnosis because of sleep related issues, see your doctor, and there are certain things that can help as well. Get physical, we talked about that. Take a moment in nature. Nature really helps us kind of connect to the world around us and calm down. And if you can't have access to nature itself, like to go out into nature and things like that because of weather or so forth, you can put like a nature video and look at that. Research has shown that that can also help. It doesn't have to be nature that you're physically in. It can be nature that you're looking at as well. It's not as let's say productive, but it still is better than nothing per se. Keep your pleasurable activities. So please keep on a daily basis, have something pleasurable that you can do that's, of course, not hurting yourself or hurting others, and keep that up, like a hobby or so forth. Humor is something wonderful to have. There are laughter therapies out there that people just laugh for no reason, and that can help them feel better. So humor is very important. Reframe your thinking. Look at things in a different way. If something is negative, look at how that negativity can maybe be a positive way for you to look at life differently. For example, I'm stuck in traffic. This is a negative thing, of course. Nobody likes to be stuck in traffic, but how can I change that into something productive? I usually, when I'm stuck in traffic, Salat al-Raham at that time is the best thing for me to do, because I'm calling all my relatives, all my friends, because I want to pass the time. So I end up doing something nice because I'm stuck in traffic. Otherwise, I'm distracted from calling the people that I love. Books on tape, listening to your favorite music, spirituality. Some people listen to religious things or spiritual things during that time because otherwise they're too distracted with life and they can't do it. So they feel good. I was able to do this. Maybe you wouldn't have been able to do it unless you're stuck in traffic and stuff like that. So sometimes, like I said, bad things, you can make it less bad or better per se. I'm going to go into grounding techniques really quick, and I apologize for taking longer, but I'll go quick with those. Those are also available for you out there. There's physical grounding. So when trauma takes over and we're just, let's say in layman terms, freaking out, the body is just, we're not able to manage or be grounded. There are different grounding techniques. Physical grounding kind of allows our body to physically feel grounded. So if somebody kind of is going through a panic attack or just freaking out themselves, sometimes pressing the feet firmly onto the floor, for example, placing hands on a solid surface, you're grounding physically per se to kind of bring down that anxiety, bring down that trauma response. Feeling the weight of your body, see how you are sinking in the chair. So you're focusing more on different things other than the fears and anxieties and so forth. Holding a piece of ice, kind of getting that sensation will take you away from all these anxiety provoking feelings and thoughts. Using the breathing to connect. So deep breathing, again, so many techniques for deep breathing. You can do what works best for you, but deep breathing by itself lowers heart rate, lowers blood pressure and stuff like that. So it's very, very helpful as long as you're doing it properly. With deep breathing, the exhale needs to be longer than the inhale and so forth, because that's where heart rate goes down, is on the exhale and so forth. There's the sensory grounding. It's kind of built like mindfulness. You know, you're looking at the things that you see, you hear, you smell, you taste, you feel. So focusing on your senses and what your senses are bringing into your body can take us away from all these negative thoughts and anxieties that we're thinking about and going through our head, even if we're obsessing on them. So this grounding exercise, doing the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, like tell me 5 things that you see, 4 things that you feel, 3 things that you hear, 2 things that you smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. So that kind of mindfulness really kind of takes you away from that anxiety. Now, if you're in a place where hearing things is going to get you more kind of anxious, so maybe we're not going to focus on the loud booms that are happening. We're going to focus more on what are we seeing in front of us per se. How is this cup of coffee tasting? Sorry to bring coffee up for the people who are fasting. I apologize. Another grounding technique, we have mental grounding techniques. So sometimes we need to do things cognitively to kind of take us away, counting backwards by set intervals. So I'm not going to tell you count backwards by 1 because that's easy. Automatically we can do that. By 2, most of us automatically. By 3, it's pretty difficult. So I'll say count down from 100 by 3. So you're going to go 100, 97, 94. See, I need to think about that. And I think nowadays we're not as strong mathematically as we used to. So you need to think even more. So these things will distract us from these and will ground us as well. Describe the environment around you, guided imagery or using visualization. You know, think of a place where you used to go and you used to feel the best and you love that place. Close your eyes. We did a lot of those exercises in mental health, and in theater we do that as well, where you just take yourself to some place that you know that feels wonderful of, or you have good memories, and kind of stay there for a while. That helps you kind of settle down, ground yourself, so that at least you feel a bit better that you can manage down the line as well. Here are just really quick, healthy ways to relax. Walking, spending time in nature, calling a good friend, again, having a good workout, journaling. Journaling is wonderful for people who don't mind writing. Journaling is a very good exercise. Now, some people journaling might re-trigger them, so maybe for these certain people, journaling is not the best thing, but the majority it helps. Taking a bath, a warm cup of herbal tea. If people who enjoy pets are wonderful, you know, for many people. For some people they're allergic, they don't like, no, don't get pets. But if you are a pet lover, please, you know, you can take care of a pet. It'll make a difference in your life. And a lot of people have had pets and it's wonderful. Gardening, I think it's a great hobbies. Fish aquarium and gardening, don't take a lot of work sometimes, but they are awesome hobbies, and you end up taking care of things and watching things grow. So please, that's a good thing for even older age. Massages, good books, music, comedy, laughter, deep breathing, and do something spiritual. For the majority of people, spirituality is something that can really raise them up, really make them feel better. So go for it. It doesn't mean if you're not spiritual, that's a bad thing. No, everybody has their own ways, but for the people who are spiritual, that gives them a lot of comfort as well. So use it, take advantage of the things that do make you feel better. Again, not hurting others, not hurting yourself. Absolutely. I'm not going to tell you to smoke more or have an extra piece of pie or cake, because that might not be the healthiest thing to do. Again, going back to humor, I think it's very, very important to have that in our lives when possible. Of course, I'm not gonna ask you to go tell a joke when you're going to like a wake or somebody's funeral or something like that. But when we're sitting there and we're stressed and we want to lessen that part, humor is a good thing. Research was done in 2020 in terms of funny memes. People who watched memes were less anxious and stressed. Here's one meme: sleep is just a time machine to coffee. It might not make sense for a lot, but it just means like sleep is not important. What's really important is to get to the coffee part. Again, sorry for the people fasting. I apologize. Some dad jokes. I'm a dad, and I kind of annoy my girls at home with things like that. Why couldn't the bicycle stand up by himself? It was too tired. What do you call a fake noodle? An impasta. What's orange and sounds like a parrot? A carrot. Those are so dad jokes. And my daughters look at me and they're like, come on, Baba, really? Seriously? And I'm like, it's funny and stuff. So yes, use these things. Even if it feels like stupidly funny, it's okay. It's if it puts a smile on your face during a time that we're not feeling as good, it's worth it. And that's about it. Thank you so much for bearing with me and for listening to me. And I hope, if anything, you will be more compassionate to yourself. You will take better care of yourself, and you will allow yourself to feel and hopefully grow from what we're going through right now. And trust me, it will not last forever. It gets better, and we are in a place that we are heavily protected and taken care of as well. So thank you all for everything. Oh, yes. And if there are any questions, yes, I can stick around, and I will do my best to help as best as I can. Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you. I don't know if you have questions, if you can kind of ask them verbally, that will be great. I'll go into the chat. Um, Thank you all. Thank you all for the thank yous. I really, really thank you for being here. I know it's not easy for some of you. It's in the middle of your workday. So I really appreciate your presence.
Hi, Doctor. Can you
Hi,
hear me?
hi.
Doctor, I think we have a Q&A here, so I'll just read it for you. It's from Miss Shada. So thank you, Dr. Rami. From your experience, will you please share tips to help our kids to stay connected with their emotions? This generation deals with emotions as a shameful thing and not as a guiding mechanism. What will be your thoughts on that, Doctor?
True, I agree. And like I told you, especially sometimes with teens, they're not gonna show me their really emotions unless it's cool and it's okay. I think the best way to do it is, to kind of start from the start to allow emotions. It doesn't mean if you don't allow it before, it's not gonna happen later. But I think allowing people to talk about emotions and not judging and not telling them how to feel. A lot of times as parents, and I'm guilty of that, trust me, even as a psychologist, I do things that are not psychologically okay, per se. But if somebody's sad and they're sad about something, but for us it could be something, it's not that important, or شغلة تافهة in Arabic per se. But we tell them, why are you sad about this? Come on, this is stupid. You're going to be sad about this. But for them, their frontal lobe is not fully developed. For them, this is kind of really bad. For us, we have 20 years on them, 30 years on them, so we reason better. So we need to allow our children to feel by not limiting their emotions. Now, if they're going to hurt themselves or hurt others with certain emotions and feelings, no, for sure, we'll step in, and there are boundaries. But I don't want to judge my child for feeling. I don't want to tell them this is right, this is wrong. I want to kind of acknowledge, allow, and then if I want them to kind of work on that feeling, we can say, okay, how do you feel about this feeling? What is it? Is it something you'd like to change? How would you like to change it? And so forth. So I think in that regards, we need to allow them to feel, just like we need to allow ourselves to feel. A lot of times growing up, especially maybe as a male as well, I wasn't allowed, like, don't be sad, you need to be strong and stuff. Great, yes, we need to be strong, but I can be sad and be strong. It's okay, I can do both. So less judgment and more allowing them, and less criticism. Let them feel. Let you know how they're feeling. Don't stop them from that, especially if there's nothing dangerous happening, and just kind of ask for more. Okay, you're feeling this way. How is it? Can you explain it? If you don't feel you understand, ask more questions, or let them know, look, I'm not understanding. In my mind, I can't see it this way. Can you help me see it your way? So in a way, you're being a therapist. And if that can't happen, look at different ways you can manage these emotions, but definitely don't judge and don't criticize, please, as best as you can. Nonetheless, we make mistakes, but we can apologize, say, I'm sorry. You're allowed to feel. And we are role models as well. So if we tell them how we're feeling, then they can learn that this is okay as well. So I hope I answered this question.
Dr. Rami, sorry. If like, hi everyone. So if you don't mind, if we can have their quick survey, because really their opinion is really important to us. And then after the quick survey, it will take you a minute only, and then we will proceed with the question and answer again. Dr. Rami, if you can stop sharing your screen, I will share mine.
Sure. To the share part, I will. How do I do it? I'm sorry. Okay, sorry about that, you guys. Tech-wise, I'm bad. I can see your screen, yes. Can I do my own survey as well? It's good. Yes. I think if you guys are done with the survey, thank you so much. And I'll still stick around for another like 15 minutes or so if anybody still has any questions. I know many of us are fasting and stuff like that. God bless all, and really thank you for joining us today. Thank you so much.
Dr. Ram, we have another question.
Sure.
Are there tests that can be run to find out levels of cortisol and other stress-triggered hormones?
In those, I'm not sure because I'm not a medical professional. I'm not a medical doctor. I guess so. If there's any physicians here or kind of medical doctors that can answer that. I'm more than happy to hear, but I know we as psychologists, we have assessments in terms of degree of anxiety and depression, kind of, we can look at that, but the biological factor of the kind of the chemicals in our body and stuff, that I'm not aware of. So if anybody is aware, you can leave something on the chat or let us know. Sorry if I'm not able to answer the biological part of it. I apologize.
I think, Doctor, there are some questions actually not in the Q&A, but on the chat. I will try to check some of it. Okay, Doctor, any techniques to help people caring for others, such as those working in healthcare, like nurses?
Yeah, sure. Like caretakers per se, you have to take care of yourself. Absolutely. People who are in caretaking positions are people who are taking care of others, and there are many times where we forget to take care of ourselves. So again, you gotta prioritize yourself, or at least be a big part of that equation in your life. Your professional life matters, but taking care of yourself will allow you to take better care of those around you as well. So again, make sure your routines per day, self-care methods of what you can do to rest your body, rest your muscles, doing fun activities. If you're aware of something that's needed, if you need to see a doctor because something is hurting, some of us caretakers will have something hurting and we will not see a doctor for like months because we're too busy. That's, you need to take care of your pain. You need to take care of yourself physically, emotionally, psychologically. If you need to see a professional, if you need to vent, in a place where it's safe for you to do so, please do that. So whatever self-care you can do that increases your quality of life so that you can help somebody else have a better quality of life, we need to do that as well. And people who do that, I support you 100%. I had to take care of my mother, God rest her soul, or help take care of her when she had a stroke and things like that. So that can be really draining, even though we love to take care and we want people to feel better, and it makes us feel better when we make others feel better. Nonetheless, you have to take care of yourself physically, emotionally, psychologically as well. And you know what's best for you based on all that we've discussed today. See what best work for you, but you gotta keep yourself in that equation. You can't take yourself out. You will burn out. And I apologize for being pessimistic here about that, but it's important that you take good care of yourself and help others. Part of helping others is self-care for us, but it's not the only thing. Hopefully that helped.
I think we only have one more question, but it's in the chat, Doctor. So, hi, Doc. Do you have any community group to help others regarding the coping mechanism?
Gotcha. Community group or support groups, not that I know of. I'm so sorry. I'm not aware here in Abu Dhabi per se. I'm not aware of support groups per se. Maybe sometimes at work we help each other and things like that. But I'm sure there are some, but I'm not aware of them per se. But I know there is helplines. I know Sakina under Pure Health, they have a mental health helpline. I don't remember the number. If somebody knows it, please put it in the chat. But I know recently I found a message that there is at least a hotline or a helpline from Sakina as well for people who need mental health support. But I'm sorry, I don't know of specific support groups. I apologize.
I think we can accommodate at least 2 to 3 questions more before
Sure,
we end the session.
sure.
You can feel free to type it in the chat or in the Q&A. We'll wait for it.
Thank you. And thank you, Ashira, for helping. I appreciate it.
Thank you. No worries, Doctor. So, Doctor, from NG Abud, how to deal with guilt after avoiding news?
After avoiding news, feeling guilty, we need to, for me, I need to be aware of where is that guilt coming from. So you avoided some news, and then I'm assuming something bad happened and you wished you would have listened to the news. Maybe I'm just making assumptions here. Um, Again, if you have a bit of guilt or you're feeling bad about something, that's okay. But we need to not allow this bad feeling to kind of take over and, let's say, ruin our day today, ruin our day tomorrow. If there's something you missed, let's say you should have listened to something, or you should have been there for something and you didn't for whatever reason, and you feel bad about it. Okay, because maybe if you would have had this piece of news, it would have been maybe better or something like that. It's okay if we feel bad, but at the same time, we need to look at it. Okay, was that, like, let's say, the end of the world? How much effect did us missing this piece of news have on us? So where is that guilt coming from? And once we're aware to the degree and severity of that guilt, then we can start looking at, okay, how much do I need to give that? And am I learning from this? And this is probably not the only thing that you did that day. You might have done 100 good things or 40 good things, and you did something that wasn't so good and you made a mistake. Okay, I'll feel bad about that. But then at the same time, I need to look back and say, what things did I do right today, and did I manage as well? So again, I'm not stopping the guilt, but I want to lessen it, because that news is not everything that is me that matters in your life. There are so many other things that matter. So we do make mistakes, we do bad things, we feel bad about them, but there's a lot of good things. So that usually at least lessens the guilt. So again, I never not want you to have guilt or not want you to feel bad, because that's important. I just want to limit the effect of these things on us by introducing, like I said, the positive things and the neutral things as well. And thank you, guys. Now I see people sharing things on there, so thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, doctor, we have another question from Nidal. So, how to support kids with an ASD in times like this, like briefly?
Okay, with autism spectrum disorder, I'm not the child expert psychologist per se. So I don't want to give something that's negative, but I know from my experience with autism, whether with adults or with children, patience as much as possible. We need to be patient, because how they experience the world. Anybody with neurodivergent kind of challenges, their experience of the world and how they see the world is not necessarily the way we see it. So we need to be patient, and it depends on the degree of the neurodivergent kind of challenges that they're going to have. But I believe people who are from that community, we need to be patient, and we need to allow ourselves to connect with them and try to see what they're seeing as best as we can. Sometimes they can't let us know, but be patient as best as you can. Take care of yourself, because also taking care of members of that community, especially when it's our children, can be challenging at times. So again, I'm sorry about not having specific techniques, because that's not necessarily my experience in terms of the autism spectrum disorder. But if there are any questions, we do have a child department here, a family and children department, with awesome child psychologists, awesome child psychiatrists, and child neurologists, that they can really help if that is a significant issue in your life. We do have the experts that can support with that. I apologize if I'm not giving specifics on that.
Doctor, I think there's another question. I think it will be, hopefully, this is the last, I believe. So we only
Sure.
have 5 minutes left. So, hey, doctor, thank you for the wonderful session. Any advice
Thank
on
you. Thank
treating
you.
narcolepsy and cataplexy?
That's not my expertise. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know, to tell you the truth. I believe maybe psychiatry neurology might be a better fit than a psychology, but definitely not my expertise. I'm sorry. I won't be able to help with that. But good question. I will look into it.
Doctor, I have another one. Okay, I am sitting far from the region, but our employees in the region are part of our family. You mentioned Ramadan is a presentation. Is there anything related to Ramadan that you believe is important or valuable for me as responsible for HR to know in order to provide their right support?
I don't understand. They're sitting. They're away. They're not here.
Mm.
What was the question again? I can't read it for some reason.
From Martin, doctor. Can
But, can you repeat the
Yeah,
question
sure.
again, Ashraf?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I am sitting far from the region, but our employees in the region are part of our family. You mentioned Ramadan is the presentation. Is there anything related to Ramadan that you believe is important or valuable for me as responsible for HR to know in order to provide the right support?
Okay, so Ramadan as a presentation, I'm not understanding it very well, but like how can we use, let's say, Ramadan to help people or something like that? I'm assuming. I know in Ramadan there's wonderful things. I mean, the only issue that sometimes in Ramadan happens is sometimes the sleep habits and stuff. So, but I think that the atmosphere here is very understanding and supportive. So there is less hours in the workday. People are the culture is so wonderful, with everybody being sensitive to everybody else's needs. So it's the sensitivity and the understanding I hear and I get from people who are practicing or not practicing. If they're eating in front of us, they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and I'm like, "No, eat." If I choose to fast, that's my choice. You can choose, that's okay. But the understanding and compassion that people have for each other here is wonderful, and the understanding. So in terms of Ramadan, I would say patience, I would say self-care, I would say kind of structure, trying to have a routine within a time that makes your routine different. Ramadan does affect our routine, possibly in a significant way. So we try to make it as positively routinish as possible, so we can still sleep same time, maybe wake up the same time, even though we're waking up more during the night, but we can manage that as best. But being patient with each other, spirituality is heightened in the month of Ramadan sometimes around the people who practice and fast and stuff like that. So that dependency allows them to feel better as well and feel more blessed in a way. But I think it's more about compassion, sensitivity, and understanding of each other. I think this is very, very good, because part of Ramadan is to kind of be resilient and be strong and giving. Part of this holy month is about giving and about connecting and about uh, being with the people you love and stuff like that. So allowing for that, I think, is a beautiful thing, and the spirituality is absolutely a wonderful thing to have as well. So I hope that answers.
Dr. Lamy, this will be the last question,
Sure, sure.
unfortunately, but myself actually is even curious about it, so I really want to ask it on their all behalf. So, Dr. Rami, what's your secret to have such a good mood and keep such a big smile during session? Thank you for a great and assuring session.
Thank you guys so much. No, this is something that makes me happy. I am a big believer that you smile and the world will smile back. I really, really believe in that. And since I was a child, that was something that was supported as well. Again, I believe my mother has a big part of who I am as a person, and God rest her soul. I pray for her every night. I think her allowing me to kind of explore things and feel things and talk about things and kind of being nice to the self and being nice to others and allowing to kind of bring a message of when you're good to yourself and good to others, karma comes back. It doesn't mean I don't get angry, I don't get sad. Absolutely. Ask my family. They've seen the other side of me for sure, and it's there in all of us. But I think accepting ourselves for who we are and cherishing ourselves and being kind of grateful. I think gratitude is a wonderful, wonderful thing when we're just grateful, whether it is through our spirituality, whether it is through our self to the world and stuff like that. But I think for me, gratitude is something that's very big on my list for myself, for God, let's say, for my family, for the world. That feeling of gratefulness really makes me feel better. So I think that part, and catching myself being good and catching others being good. So that's very important. And especially as parents, we need to catch our children being good and not just catch them when they're bad and kind of ignore them when they're good. So I think focusing on the good and catching people when they're good, because most of of the humans on this planet are good people. I think that puts us in a more positive attitude. And doing what I do as a psychologist really helps make me feel better about myself, because I get to see people for who they are, their genuine humanity, and you'll be surprised how wonderful humans are that come into this office. Really, really, it humbles me and makes me look at humanity in a very good and positive way. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah for everything. Thank you all. Wonderful question. I appreciate it. Thank you.
So that concludes our session, Dr. Rami. Thank you very much for
Thank
your
you all.
valuable tips and all, and especially for your time. So thank you everyone for attending the session.
Thank
Hope we
you.
can have
Thank you.
more. Yeah, thank you.
Inshallah, inshallah. Thank you. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Thank you all. Thank you. And take care of yourself, please. Bye-bye. Bye.